Welcome to the Water Surface Elevation, or WSEL, Grid GIS tutorial. This presentation provides details about what the WSEL grid is and how to use it to find your base flood elevation, or BFE. Most communities are familiar with using flood insurance rate maps, or flood maps, to guide sound floodplain management decisions. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, also created flood risk products to be used alongside regulatory products like FIRMs. Flood risk products are non-regulatory, ready-made sources of additional information that go beyond the basic flood hazard information on the FIRM and provide more extensive and more user-friendly information. Flood risk products can help communities make better and more effective mitigation decisions. Flood risk products include the Flood Risk Database, which stores the changes since last FIRM, water surface elevation grids, flood depth grids. It may also store the percent annual chance grid, percent 30-year chance grid, flood risk assessment, and areas of mitigation interest. A flood risk map and a flood risk report will often accompany the database. A cross-section shown on a FIRM panel is labeled with a number. This number represents the WSEL or BFE, the height of floodwater above a standard ground zero, or NAVD 88. The WSEL grid shows these elevations in a gridded format. WSEL values at each cross-section are interpolated or estimated for areas in between each cross-section to create a smooth, seamless grid with WSEL values at every cell. The WSEL grid allows community officials to better understand, explore, and communicate the variability of flood elevations in flood-prone areas. The WSEL values are directly related to the base flood elevations found on flood insurance rate maps. These values provide additional detail for elevation determinations. The following tutorial outlines steps in ArcMap to perform simple spatial analysis using the WSEL grid. Each spatial layer in the flood risk database is described in detail by accessing FEMA's Flood Risk Database technical references. This tutorial utilizes the following raster dataset from the Flood Risk Database: the WSE01 PCT showing the water surface elevation grid. Here is a snapshot of what the FRD raster is and an explanation. Open ArcMap and use the Add Data button drop-down to add a simple base map layer to give the WSEL grid some spatial context. Use the Add Data function again and navigate to the Flood Risk Database. Select the WSE01%, then click Add. In the Layers list, right-click the WSE01%. In the Symbology tab, change the symbology to an intuitive color scale. Color scale chosen here is named Precipitation. The Invert button can flip the color order. It is also good practice to set a transparency so the base map is still visible. Add in local data such as tax parcel polygons or critical facilities using the Add Data function. Use the magnifier to zoom to an area of interest. Local data is essential for identifying base flood elevations at multiple site-specific locations all at once. Parcel polygons can also be converted to points. Use the search function and type in feature to point. Use the tool with the parcels as your input. You can manually add new points using the Editor toolbar. Start editing the new point layer, then click the Create Features button. Click the point layer from the Create Features window, then click where you want the point to go on the map. Remember to save your edits when finished. Search for the Buffer tool next. Using the parcel point dataset as the input and a 32-foot buffer in the tool input. A 32-foot buffer is recommended because a 32-foot radius will, on average, cover the extent of a house. This buffer creates an area within which to sample the WSEL values. Next, enable the Spatial Analyst extension by clicking the Customize tab and selecting Extensions. Check the box next to Spatial Analyst and click Close. Next, search for the Zonal Statistics as Table tool. Use the buffered point layer as the input feature. The zone field is the attribute within the buffered shapefile that will be best to help you identify addresses. Object ID is used here to ensure individual addresses remain confidential. Use the WSEL grid as the input raster. View the layer list by source and right-click the resulting table and open the table. Select all entries and right-click in the gray table space and click Copy Selected. Open a new Excel spreadsheet and simply paste in the first entry. The output table will have attributes for min and max. Max is the estimated BFE that should be used for the location of interest. Zonal statistics can also be applied to the original parcel polygon instead of the point parcel. You can see that within the table, the BFE or WSE value is shown for hundreds of locations. The WSEL grids combined with local data can provide structure-specific information to assist in things like the letter of map amendment or LOMA applications. As previously mentioned, flood risk products were developed to be used alongside regulatory products like FERMs to help guide those tough conversations. Many of the flood risk products help stakeholders visualize their flood risks in a way that lines on the firm cannot, making flood risk products a powerful communication tool. The following provides more resources to learn more about flood risk products. So how exactly can WSEL grids be used for mitigation? Grids can prepare visual flood risk communication materials for discussions with citizens and developers. They assist with land use and comprehensive planning decisions to guide development to areas with lower flood risks. They assist local staff in identifying site-specific base flood elevations. Grids allow for better insurance rate quotes to be provided in areas where base flood elevations have been calculated but not shown or labeled on firms, such as areas of Zone A. Grids provide required data for completion of an elevation certificate. Grids allow communities to review more stringent building codes and standards. Please use these web pages for printable flood risk product fact sheets, Colorado's resiliency plan throughout the state, FEMA-specific resources, other uses for a base flood elevation, and what exactly is meant by the term 100-year flood. A geographic information system, known as GIS, is a powerful tool for visualization and data analysis. If you're interested in trying GIS, check out these resources. Once you have an ArcGIS platform, contact your community for a copy of the Flood Risk Database and a Flood Risk Product map package. For additional information, please contact representatives from the Colorado Water Conservation Board.